the parents, especially, like I said, in our current education system, which is frankly set up for failure. The parents must step in. Like at this rate, they can't blame COVID anymore. They can't blame the teachers. They have to take personal responsibility, which apparently is something that millennial parents really have an aversion to. They just want to be kind and soft and not be mean and not set any boundaries. It truly is a generation of gentle parenting, which is a phenomenon that deserves its own episode. We'll talk about that maybe next week because we can't fit it all in here because we need to unpack all of that. But anyway, listen to what this girl says.
Can we please talk about the whole thing on TikTok where millennials are being like, we're the ones raising Gen Alpha and they're going to be the ones making fun of Gen Z. And you know what? We're not nice. Oh, we know you're raising Gen Alpha because teachers are quitting their jobs because your kids are awful and you guys are enablers. So the whole thing where they're like, I have a hard time with confrontation. Merp. Your kids are walking all over you. I literally worked with Gen Alpha kids all summer. And they made me cry. Oh, I got punched multiple times by multiple different kids. They fought each other. They fought other staff. They threw food at me. And most of this is because I was telling them no.
It truly is the result of too much screen time and gentle parenting. And I think people have gotten this idea of gentle parenting, and there are some aspects of it that obviously are good in theory, but the way that it is apparently being applied by these millennial parents is just having no boundaries and not telling your children no and just filming them and laughing at it instead of disciplining them. There's nothing gentle about it when it's going to cause destruction to our entire society in 20 years, or actually right now, based on these TikToks.
What's going on, everyone? Sauce Queen here today, and I wanted to kind of give a, not a reaction, but an analysis about gentle parenting. This is the first time I ever heard of gentle parenting. I know, shocking, how you're a millennial, Kenny, just finding out about gentle parenting. Well, it's because I'm busy parenting my own kids. So I decided to do a little research on gentle parenting, and I found out that this is, I think parenting, there's timeless wisdom for a reason, right? There's reasons why there's certain things that withstand the test of time. And I think the problem with millennials and their parenting style is they go with whatever's in at the moment. And the problem with that is these new parenting styles are not vetted by the test of time. And now you get a bunch of Gen Z teachers, a bunch of teachers actually, you know, I have a in-law of mine that's a teacher, complaining about how kids are falling behind in school. They're not reading at grade level. They can't read. They can't spell. They can't stay in place, right? They don't follow directions. They don't respect authority because, as you saw in the intro, this gentle parenting style seems to enable bad behavior. And before I go into this article of what is gentle parenting and me and you discover what gentle parenting is together, here's a clip kind of illustrating an example of how gentle parenting is not really good at setting boundaries because it kind of frames confrontation as a negative instead of as a tool in your toolkit. Let's take a look.
I will hit your child, bro. You see me at a restaurant, your kid's acting up, winking at me, go to the bathroom. I will hit your child.
I'm actually not a fan of the spanking, but yeah, the opposite is not good.
That was a funny clip. Hey, you gotta admit that was funny. All right, and I seen this happen a couple times when I'm out, and I look at my son because my son's 3 years old, and I have a 6-month-old son, and I'm a millennial, even though I'm the last millennial, 96, 27 years old, right? So I guess I'm critiquing my own generation here. And one thing that stuck with me, you know, being raised by immigrant parents, you know, both my parents are Haitian, my wife's parents are Nicaraguan. I always say that thing wrong. And we grew up with authoritative parents. Okay, hey, if you want to, if you cry, we'll give you a reason to cry about. That's how me and my wife grew up, and that's a tradition we kind of want to continue because one thing that I agree with is I do not want to raise fragile children, and I believe gentle parenting creates fragile people. That's all I'm trying to say. Like the whole point of not looking down on your kids. I do that a lot. When my son does something like I think is out of bounds or not appropriate for the situation, I look down on him because I think children need some judgmental parents. I believe you need to judge your kids. You need to judge what's right or wrong because our legal system judges what's right or wrong, right? This is my problem with gentle parenting is that it comes across with empathy and understanding. And I'm like, yo, my 3-year-old son is a ball of emotion that he doesn't even know how to regulate yet. How is gentle parenting going to help that? And this is where you get the concept of, you're an enabler. You can't deal with confrontation. You can't tell your kid no. Oh, bro, no is my favorite word. I think my role as the father is to be the bad guy, is to be the villain of the family. I let my wife be the gentle parenting. And even then, her gentle parenting is not like what this guy illustrated, right? My wife will without resorting to hitting, because I tend to be a little hitter. I tend to hit a little bit more than she does. I tend to use timeout a lot more than she does because I tolerate less, I tolerate less bad behavior compared to my wife. But he still gets discipline from both of us. It's just my wife is a little more lenient, and that's fine. She's the mother. But me, when I come in there, because I'm laughing because my 3-year-old son, when he sees I do a certain face, he's like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm getting a spanking and I'm getting timeout. Like, because you teach your kid what they can get away with. Your kid, and this is me 3 years of parenting experience, under my belt. Your kid, their job is to test boundaries. And with gentle parenting, it doesn't lend itself to allow you to enforce those boundaries because you have to come from empathy. And to a kid, if you tell them no, you hurt their feelings. AKA, you're not being empathetic when you say no. So it kind of conditions you as a parent to kind of be a subservient to your child instead of being the leader of the household, instead of being your guide, the kid's guide. Right? But I digress. I rambled a little bit too much about my personal situation. Let's talk about what is gentle parenting, because you can't criticize something without actually knowing what the thing is actually about. Gentle parenting is a parenting approach that encourages a partnership between you and your child to make choices based on internal wellness instead of external pressures. I don't believe this. Partnership. This is where it messed up already. There's no partnership between me and my child, right? I'm not my child's friend. And this is just a thing probably, maybe some people may not agree with it, but my kid acts a lot better than what they illustrated out there. And when my kid does something wrong, like hit another kid or he shoves another kid, I make him apologize immediately. And I tell him, hey, you better say sorry. You better own up to your mistakes. I'm teaching him accountability, right? Gentle parenting says, hey, you don't do that. You don't hit each other. That's not good. But you're not correcting the action. The kid don't feel bad for what he's doing because you didn't judge him for it, right? Because you're not supposed to be judgmental, right? And this is why I always struggle with these little trendy new, look at this is the in crowd thing. I'm like, no, I don't care about what I'm going with tried and true. I digress, because end of the day, this is like lower of expectations. This is what happened. Oh, you're a child. You're 3 years old. And this is something I always tell my wife and my in-laws whenever they think I'm being overly harsh with my son. I say, oh, you're going to say he's only 3, then he's only 6, then he's only 10, then he's only 16. I said, when are we going to put the discipline on him? Because I think it's unfair to a child that you let them be lenient for the first 6 years of their life. And then after they turn 7 years old, then you want to be harsh on them, or then you want to add rules and boundaries on them. And they're going to be like, yo, what is this? You're acting different, Dad. You never did this. Now you're starting to change up. I think that's inconsiderate. So I think, hey, I'm training you since you begin to get some understanding, because this is the standard. I like to be consistent throughout, like from 2 to whatever age you are. You're like, yeah, Dad always been like this. Dad always treated me like this. As they get older, I take more of an advisory role in our interactions. But right now, what I say goes. That's how I am. I'm very authoritative parenting. That's authoritative parenting number 1, right? So I want to get into this next clip because Candace Owens, she understands what I'm talking about, because this is exactly how I kind of go. That's my approach to parenting as well. I love timeout, right? And what Candace is about to illustrate is kind of how I kind of go about in our household, and she kind of illustrate like how my how my wife attempts to do gentle parenting. Let's take a look, and then I'll finish off the video after this clip.
Gentle parenting, we've talked about it on the show many times. Everybody's doing it in this new age, except for me and people that have our senses and realize that children are actually meant to be disciplined. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this really funny skit. Don't worry, no child was harmed in the making. There's no child in the background. This guy is just being funny. This is just for humor. Take a listen.
Hey, I know you're frustrated, okay? I know you're having these big feelings that you don't know what to do with. But if you don't shut the up and put your shoes on, then I'm gonna start having big feelings and I might start screaming, which is gonna make you have even bigger feelings. Isn't that scary? Yeah, so let's slip those Crocs on, okay?
Very funny. Me attempting gentle parenting would look something like that. And of course, no, we don't swear at our children or anything like that. But I don't tolerate my children throwing temper tantrums. Obviously, I got into this just a little bit a few weeks ago when I was talking about why I have zero tolerance, a zero tolerance policy on college campuses when people come up to me and they whine. Because I can't be your mommy. That's why I am not here to be your mother. I don't allow this whining and people throwing temper tantrums. And I have a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old. People think that typically that is permissible, that you should expect that 2-year-olds are going to throw temper tantrums and throw themselves on the floor. Yeah, you should expect it, but you should not accept it. You are rearing them to be responsible adults. And so we very much believe in discipline in our household. We love ourselves a good timeout if they need it. Because I always say to my son, look, it's very clear right now that you need some you time, obviously, and I actually need some me time. So we're going to put you in. No, I don't want a timeout. Very effective parenting strategy for my son.
Yeah, I agree with everything. And that video with the guy and telling him, hey, like I want you to follow direction, whatever. It reminded me of something that me and my wife read. I think it was Jordan Peterson. Raise your kid into someone that you won't hate. And I think that's a good rule to follow, because end of the day, you're the first testing bed. You're the tutorial for your child of how he's supposed to interact with the world. And if he's doing something you don't like and you don't call it out, you don't correct the behavior, he's going to continue doing that. And you're going to foster some type of resentment towards your child. And that's one thing I told my wife I never want to do. I never want to feel resentment for my child. So when minute he steps out of line, the minute he do something that annoys me, bothers me, I'm like, hey, don't do that. Hey, don't throw tantrums like that. My son at 2 years old, he used to do that. He used to drag on the floor, and I'm like, hey, we're not doing that. Get up. You got 3 seconds before I put you in timeout, right? I never concede to that, because the minute he like this, how you teach your kids what work. The minute he finds out that, oh, going on the floor, whining, screaming, it works. My dad's going to comply. He's going to fold. You're just conditioning them to keep doing it. You're creating an incentive structure for them to keep doing that because they saw it works. Kids are only going to do what works. If he sees that going on the floor, doing all that only makes the situation worse, he's going to stop doing it. Simple logic here, because children are emotional. But I digress. I want to give this article because there's a common misconceptions about gentle parenting. This parenting style asks you to become aware of the behaviors you model for your child, encourages compassion, welcomes emotion, and accepts the child as a whole capable person. Honestly, I think gentle parenting can work, but only if your wife's doing it. I think as a father, you can't really follow this approach because fathers are seen as the disciplinarians in the household. I don't care. Feminists get mad at me. This is the truth. Fathers are the disciplinarians of the household. We're the authority. There's a reason why scientifically our voice sounds more threatening than a woman's voice, because we are the authority in the house, right? We're the enforcers. We enforce the boundaries, okay? This approach doesn't follow a strict set of rules. Oh, interesting. But, here, the common misconception about gentle parenting, it kind of contradicts itself, but that's just my view. I could be wrong. It wasn't created by a lifestyle or parenting guru, nor does it stem from a celebrity fad. The gentle parenting philosophy includes a wide variety of strategies that may be already familiar to you. Parenting experts and authors of the Gentle Parenting book sums up gentle parenting in 3 words: empathy, understanding, and respect. Respect, I can agree to. Understanding, maybe. Empathy, depends. Common misconceptions about gentle parenting. Remember how I said that the approach of gentle parenting doesn't follow any strict set of rules? What that sound like to you? Chaos? Okay. It's easy to think of gentle parenting philosophy as boundary free, Well, it is. You don't have any rules. You don't have any like, hey, here's an abstract template of how you do gentle parenting. No, you just let it up to the parents, and then the parents decide, oh, it's gentle parenting. I have to be gentle. I had to consider my son's feelings. I have to show empathy. Parents can be apprehensive to embrace a gentler approach because they might be concerned with losing control. They worry it could lead to their child being unable to identify what is or isn't out of bounds for their safety and their treatment of themselves and others. While this is a valid concern, parents can rest assured that gentle parenting doesn't avoid discipline or boundaries. Well, look at social media and see how this is the one of the ideas, like, in theory it sounds good, but when it's time to execute it, that's where it gets chaotic, because there's some kids that have a more, I say, timid temperament. My son does not have a timid temperament. It takes a lot for him to comply. This is why sometimes I have to go a little, some people think overreacting, but I'm like, I'm not reacting. I'm reacting appropriate for my child, because my child is a miniature gangster, okay? This dude, if you try gentle parenting, he go be like, oh, word? I'll walk all over you. That's how my son can be sometimes. This is why, look, I'm airing out my parents' situation, but grandparents love to spoil this kid, okay? If I let this kid stay at his grandparents for more than a week, he comes back a different kid. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I told you no. Why are you not listening? Because he was being spoiled by the grandparents. But it's fine. I think kids need that. I think this is the approach is balance. Too much of one thing is a bad thing. Moderation in all things. I can agree to that, right? Maybe I could be a little more gentler in my approach, but that's what I have my wife for. She balances me out, right? And I think this is why a lot of kids who come from two-parent households, they're a lot more well-adjusted than kids who come out from a single-parent household. Because if I was raising my son by myself as a single father, this kid, he gonna be like that, right? No emotion, he won't learn how to bond, right? And if he was raised by a single mother, right? You get the stats. We already seen the stats for single moms, right? He's enablers, high rates of crime, more likely to drop out of school because, he feels no need to do anything, right? Because they're going to love him as he is. And that's not a good thing either, because then without any standards, there's nothing to aspire to. There's nothing to hold him accountable to. There's no rules in the household. This is why single mother households have a high percentages of criminals that come out of those households because of that. The kid feel like, oh, I could do anything. I don't need to respect authority. Authority needs to respect me, right? And I think a lot of this gentle parenting is creating this culture in Gen Alpha, which is what my kids are a part of. And now you see all these Gen Z teachers complaining about it. And I think that's the result, right? If you test your theory in reality and reality shows you your theory is wrong, you must accept that your theory is wrong. Gentle parenting does not have any boundaries. Gentle parenting has no set of rules. It's just make it up as you go along, but as long as you have empathy, understanding, and respect, you'll go a long way. And I think those things are important too, but it's required balance. But gentle parenting emphasizes those things to the point that it's detrimental to the child, at least from a disciplinarian standpoint. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What you think about gentle parenting? You think gentle parenting is going to ruin this country? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.